Viking DNA has been traced to over 40 million people alive today. This widespread genetic legacy indicates the extensive reach and impact of Viking migrations and settlements. Genetic markers serve as evidence of historical population movements and ancestral connections. A 2020 study analyzed 442 ancient genomes to trace Viking lineage. Viking genes were found across Norway, the UK, Ukraine, and India. Genetic analysis provides insights into the geographical spread of Viking ancestry. This exploration reconstructs how Vikings would adapt to modern technology. The study examines whether the Viking warrior culture could thrive in contemporary society. The adaptation process involves integrating historical strengths with modern tools and strategies. A 2020 Nature study analyzed 442 ancient genomes to investigate Viking ancestry. The study represents the largest DNA analysis conducted on Viking populations to date. The research revealed significant Viking genetic heritage in various modern populations. Approximately 1 in 3 Norwegians possess direct Viking ancestry. Around 25% of Icelanders are direct descendants of Vikings. 15% of individuals in northern England can trace their lineage directly to Vikings. Vikings served as a genetic melting pot, integrating diverse genetic material. Celtic genes entered the Viking gene pool through raiding and settling. Baltic and Central Asian genes were incorporated through trade networks. The average Viking male had a height of approximately 5'7". This height represents the average stature of Viking men during their historical period. Historical records and archaeological findings support this average height measurement. In modern Oslo, individuals dressed in functional clothing made from leather, wool, and linen would appear inconspicuous. Modern Vikings might adopt attire similar to that of North Face or tactical gear, prioritizing practicality and durability. The blend of traditional materials with modern designs allows for seamless integration into contemporary urban environments. Vikings commonly wore leather boots, reflecting practical footwear for varied terrains and climates. Muted earth tones were typical in Viking clothing, providing camouflage and reflecting available natural dyes. Well-groomed beards and tattoos of runes or Norse symbols were common Viking personal adornments. Vikings maintained a high level of physical fitness through activities such as farming, sailing, and warfare. The physical demands of Viking life would translate well to modern athletic pursuits. Modern sports such as CrossFit, rock climbing, and obstacle races reflect the diverse physical challenges faced by Vikings. Archaeological evidence indicates Vikings possessed a high degree of focus. This intense focus was driven by the need for survival in a harsh environment. This focus is comparable to that of modern special forces or entrepreneurs. Viking women, also known as shield maidens, were known for their strength and combat skills. In modern times, Viking women might excel as military officers due to their strategic thinking and leadership abilities. Their courage and physical prowess could also translate into success in extreme sports. Vikings demonstrated advanced engineering skills through their longship designs. The design of Viking longships was studied by NASA for its innovative approach to naval architecture. Viking longship design principles influenced modern engineering solutions. Vikings possessed advanced metallurgical skills, enabling the creation of superior tools and weaponry. Navigation was mastered using sun compasses and birefringent crystals, allowing for accurate seafaring even under overcast conditions. Extensive trade networks spanned 3 continents, facilitating the exchange of goods and cultural ideas. Vikings established democratic assemblies known as things. These things served as early forms of parliaments. Things facilitated community decision-making and legal proceedings. In 2025, Vikings demonstrate rapid adaptation to modern technology. Vikings transition into roles such as drone pilots, integrating ancient skills with advanced aerial technology. Vikings also become special forces operators and cybersecurity experts, leveraging strategic thinking in new domains. Vikings possessed a natural inclination for risk-taking and trade. These inherent traits contributed to their success as entrepreneurs. Viking entrepreneurial spirit translates to modern business acumen. A hypothetical Viking born in 1990 might grow up with video games. This hypothetical Viking could then join the military. He might lead a tech startup or run adventure tourism. Viking battle tactics, including the berserker strategy, are studied by modern military units. The berserker strategy is analyzed for its psychological impact on opposing forces. Elite military units examine historical strategies to understand and replicate psychological warfare techniques. Vikings quickly adopted and improved upon new technologies. They enhanced navigation tools for more accurate seafaring. Vikings adapted and refined fighting techniques for superior combat effectiveness. Vikings, when presented with modern smartphones, would rapidly learn to use existing applications. Vikings would develop their own applications, leveraging their storytelling traditions. Sagas would be adapted into long-form podcast formats for modern consumption. Vikings developed a form of democracy through assemblies known as things. These assemblies allowed free men to voice their opinions, cast votes, and question leadership. The things served as a platform for challenging authority and participating in communal governance. Modern Scandinavian egalitarianism is rooted in historical Viking democratic customs. The cultural memory of Viking democratic practices influences contemporary Scandinavian social structures. Viking-era democratic traditions have contributed to the development of modern egalitarian values in Scandinavia. Vikings placed high importance on individual accountability for actions and decisions. Advancement within Viking society was primarily based on merit and demonstrated skill. Direct and honest communication was a cornerstone of Viking interactions and decision-making. Vikings would likely disapprove of modern cancel culture due to its indirect nature. Bureaucracy's complex procedures and paperwork would conflict with the Viking preference for direct action. The Viking ethos of strength and resilience contrasts with modern concepts of victimhood and safe spaces. Modern Scandinavia exhibits evolved Viking values characterized by high levels of trust within society. Strong social safety nets are a core component of evolved Viking values, providing security and support. Fierce independence and a culture of innovation are also key aspects of modern Scandinavian values. Modern Vikings may hold diverse political views, such as libertarianism combined with support for universal healthcare. Environmentalism and traditional hunting practices can coexist within the modern Viking ethos. Modern Vikings embrace gender equality, expecting women to embody warrior-like strength and capability. Vikings alternated periods of intense raiding with community and family time. This cyclical pattern mirrors the Scandinavian work model's emphasis on work-life balance. The Scandinavian work model prioritizes both productivity and personal well-being. Viking culture did not disappear, but underwent a process of evolution. Modern Scandinavia retains genetic and cultural influences from its Viking heritage. Viking DNA and cultural traits persist in contemporary Scandinavian society. Norway's Wealth Fund exemplifies long-term economic planning strategies. This approach mirrors the foresight of Viking chieftains who planned for extended periods. Sweden's tech boom illustrates economic adaptability, another key Viking trait. Denmark's emphasis on equality and community is deeply rooted in its historical traditions. The Viking Thing Assembly served as an early model for democratic decision-making and community involvement. This historical foundation has been adapted to fit the needs and values of 20th century Danish society. Viking resilience manifests in modern Arctic explorers facing harsh conditions. Risk-taking, a Viking trait, drives athletes to push boundaries in extreme sports. Viking innovation inspires engineers to develop advanced technologies. Norse mythology envisions a world where figures like Odin and Thor exert daily influence. In this alternate reality, Norse law significantly shapes the legal frameworks of the Western world. The integration of Norse mythology into mainstream culture transforms societal norms and values. The Viking legacy is evident in the cultural practices and societal structures of modern Scandinavian countries. Norwegians maintaining a strong connection to the sea exemplifies one aspect of the enduring Viking heritage. The entrepreneurial spirit of Swedes launching startups reflects another facet of this historical influence. The Viking spirit of adaptation is reflected in modern innovations. Viking conquest and exploration have influenced cultural values worldwide. The Viking legacy continues to shape the world through enduring cultural values and technological advancements. DNA ancestry tests can trace an individual's genetic roots back over 1,000 years. These tests analyze specific genetic markers to determine ethnic and geographic origins. DNA analysis can reveal potential Viking ancestry through the identification of specific genetic signatures. Discovering Viking DNA links individuals to a historical lineage of explorers. Genetic heritage connects individuals to Viking chieftains, representing leadership and power. Viking DNA may reveal connections to legendary berserkers, fierce warriors known for their battle prowess. Viewers are encouraged to explore their ancestry through DNA testing. Genetic testing can reveal potential Viking ancestry and historical connections. Share your Viking ancestry stories and connect with others in the comments section. Viewers are encouraged to subscribe for more history-related content. Sharing the video helps spread historical knowledge and insights to a wider audience. Subscription and sharing support the creation of future educational history videos. Viking DNA has been traced to over 40 million people alive today. This widespread presence indicates a significant genetic legacy. Genetic markers serve as evidence of Viking ancestry in contemporary populations. Research from 2020 analyzed 442 ancient genomes. The analysis revealed the presence of Viking genes in these geographically diverse locations. This genetic evidence supports the historical accounts of Viking expansion and influence. The adaptation explores how Vikings might integrate modern technology into their traditional culture. The study examines whether the Viking warrior culture could thrive in a contemporary, technologically advanced society. The analysis reconstructs potential Viking societal structures and behaviors within a modern context. A 2020 Nature study represents the largest Viking DNA research to date. The study examined 442 ancient genomes to determine Viking ancestry. The research revealed significant Viking ancestry in various modern populations. Approximately 1 in 3 Norwegians possess direct Viking ancestry. A quarter of the Icelandic population carries direct Viking lineage. 15% of individuals in northern England exhibit direct Viking ancestry. Vikings served as a genetic melting pot, integrating diverse ancestries. Raiding, settling, and trading facilitated the incorporation of Celtic, Baltic, and Central Asian genes into the Viking gene pool. Genetic exchange through Viking activities resulted in a heterogeneous population with diverse ancestral origins. The average Viking male stood approximately 5'7" tall. This height represents the average stature of Viking men during their historical period. Archaeological findings and skeletal remains support historical accounts of Viking physical characteristics. In modern Oslo, individuals dressed in functional attire blend seamlessly into the urban environment. Modern Viking attire incorporates durable materials like leather, wool, and linen for practical everyday wear. Contemporary tactical gear and outdoor brands influence the functional design of modern Viking clothing. Vikings commonly wore leather boots, providing essential foot protection and durability. Their clothing primarily featured muted earth tones, reflecting the natural resources and dyes available. Vikings often adorned themselves with well-groomed beards and tattoos of runes or Norse symbols. Vikings maintained a high level of physical fitness through activities such as farming, sailing, and warfare. The physical demands of Viking life would translate well to modern athletic pursuits. Modern activities like CrossFit, rock climbing, and obstacle races reflect the comprehensive fitness Vikings likely possessed. Archaeological evidence indicates Vikings possessed a high degree of focus. This intense focus was driven by the need for survival in a challenging environment. The focused mindset of Vikings is comparable to that of modern special forces or entrepreneurs. Viking women, also known as shield maidens, were known for their strength and combat skills. Their roles could be equated to modern military officers, demonstrating leadership and strategic thinking. The bravery and physical capabilities of Viking women align with those of modern extreme sports athletes. Vikings demonstrated advanced engineering skills, particularly in shipbuilding. Viking longships were a testament to their naval engineering prowess. NASA studied Viking longship designs for their innovative engineering solutions. Vikings possessed advanced metallurgical skills, enabling the creation of superior weapons and tools. Vikings navigated using sun compasses and birefringent crystals, allowing accurate seafaring even under cloudy conditions. Viking trade networks spanned 3 continents, facilitating the exchange of goods and cultural ideas. Vikings established democratic assemblies known as things. These things served as early forms of parliaments. The assemblies facilitated decision-making and conflict resolution within Viking society. In 2025, Vikings demonstrate rapid adaptation to modern technology. Vikings transition into roles such as drone pilots, special forces operators, and cybersecurity experts. This adaptation highlights the Vikings' capacity for innovation and integration into advanced technological fields. Vikings possessed a natural inclination for risk-taking, a key attribute of successful entrepreneurs. Their extensive trading networks across vast territories demonstrate their entrepreneurial acumen in identifying and exploiting market opportunities. The Vikings' entrepreneurial spirit enabled them to thrive in a competitive and uncertain environment. A hypothetical Viking born in 1990 might grow up with video games. This hypothetical Viking could then join the military. Later, this Viking might lead a tech startup or run adventure tourism. Viking battle tactics, including the Berserker strategy, are studied by elite military units. The Berserker strategy is analyzed for its psychological warfare applications. Modern military units adapt historical strategies to contemporary combat scenarios. Vikings rapidly adopted and improved upon new technologies. They quickly adapted better swords, navigation tools, and fighting techniques. This adaptability provided a significant advantage in warfare and exploration. Vikings would quickly master smartphone apps. Vikings would develop their own apps. Sagas would be adapted as ancient podcasts for long-form storytelling. The Vikings developed a form of democracy through assemblies known as things. These assemblies allowed free men to voice their opinions, vote, and challenge leadership. The things served as a platform for open discourse and participatory decision-making within the Viking community. Modern Scandinavian egalitarianism has roots in Viking democratic practices. Viking society featured inclusive assemblies where free men made collective decisions. This historical foundation contributes to the egalitarian values prevalent in contemporary Scandinavian culture. Vikings placed a high value on accountability for one's actions and decisions. Advancement within Viking society was primarily based on merit and demonstrated skill. Direct and honest communication was considered essential in Viking culture. Vikings, valuing direct confrontation, would likely disapprove of modern cancel culture. Bureaucracy and excessive regulations contrast sharply with the Viking preference for straightforward action and decision-making. The Viking emphasis on strength and resilience clashes with modern concepts of victim mentality and safe spaces. Modern Scandinavia embodies evolved Viking values, including high societal trust. Strong social safety nets, independence, and innovation are key components of this evolved value system. These values foster a society characterized by both individual freedom and collective well-being. Modern Vikings represent a diverse group with varied ideologies. Some modern Vikings support universal healthcare, reflecting a commitment to social welfare. Environmentalist modern Vikings may engage in hunting, balancing conservation with traditional practices. Vikings alternated periods of intense activity during raiding season with periods of community and family focus. This cyclical pattern mirrors the modern Scandinavian work model, which emphasizes work-life balance. The Scandinavian model prioritizes dedicated focus during work hours, followed by protected personal and family time. Viking culture did not disappear, but underwent a process of evolution. Modern Scandinavia retains influences from Viking DNA, indicating genetic continuity. Present-day Scandinavian culture exhibits various traits inherited from Viking traditions. Norway's wealth fund exemplifies long-term economic planning, rooted in historical strategies. Sweden's tech boom demonstrates economic adaptability, reflecting a modern Viking spirit of innovation. Both Norway and Sweden showcase distinct economic strategies derived from their Viking heritage. Denmark's emphasis on equality and community is deeply rooted in its historical traditions. The Viking Thing Assembly served as an early model for democratic decision-making and community governance. The principles of the Thing have been adapted and integrated into Denmark's 21st century social and political systems. Viking resilience manifests as the ability to overcome challenges in extreme environments. Viking risk-taking translates into modern innovation and entrepreneurial spirit. Viking innovation drives advancements in engineering and technology. The concept explores a world where Norse mythology is a mainstream cultural influence. In this reality, figures like Odin and Thor exert daily influence on society. Norse law shapes legal and ethical frameworks within the Western world. The Viking legacy manifests in the cultural identities and activities of modern Scandinavian nations. Norwegians embody the Viking spirit through their continued seafaring traditions and maritime expertise. Swedes reflect the Viking legacy through innovation, entrepreneurship, and technological advancement. The Viking spirit of adaptation and conquest has profoundly shaped modern innovations. Viking cultural values continue to resonate in contemporary society, influencing governance and exploration. The Viking legacy is evident in the transformation of global trade routes and cultural exchange. DNA ancestry tests can trace an individual's genetic lineage back over 1,000 years. These tests analyze specific genetic markers to identify ancestral origins and migration patterns. DNA analysis can reveal potential Viking ancestry through the identification of specific genetic signatures.